It's a great pleasure that Dr. Vishwanath Karad and his son Rahul have invited me to speak on a topic, I think so, which is getting more and more not only complicated, but it also, in near future, I see, affecting the polity of the nation. Along with me, there's another eminent speaker, Maulana Sayyid Kalbe. Haribau Bagde has already spoken, dear friends and distinguished guests. Let me begin this topic because I have not prepared myself. The Dr. Ambedkar, in his late 30s, when there were different revolutions that were taking place, he addressed that you take revolution or you bring revolution in any direction that you like. But he said that the monster of caste will cross your path. His words of 1930 are relevant even in 2015. And why this is? We must first understand what is caste. Caste is basically, as first used by the Spanish and then by the Portuguese, referred to as race and when we see this caste as a race, what is the major element within this caste which binds them together? It's a fellow feeling within this caste for those who are members of the caste. It's a positive feeling for those who are members of the caste, and there is anti-fellow feeling for those who are not the members of the caste. And this is where we either despise a person within a society, or if he is a member of my caste, I have a brotherly feeling for him. If this is considered within a democracy, I think so we are confusing. Forms of government is not a part of democracy. Therefore, democracy and forms of government are two different aspects. Then what is democracy? Democracy is the association within the society. And what is this association then depended upon? If you have to make the democracy vibrant, if you have to make democracy as a part of a life, it should not be linked with the political system or the forms of government that we have. Democracy has to be linked with the way of life that we live. And our way of life then needs to have certain amount of principles which are basic for the flourishing of the democracy. Now, what can be these points of unity or understanding? If I may say so, let us say what the caste stands for. The caste stands, I said, one is for the fellow feeling within his own caste. Second, it stands for endogamy. Second, it stands for the, third, it stands for the social stratification of the society. Fourthly, it stands for certain amount of heritage, either creative or imaginative, that we believe that my forefathers or the earlier generations has followed. Third is fifth is the rituals. And last is the social, customary values that we believe. These are the indices of the caste. And I may say so, everybody present over here will have to make a conscious decision whether today he is a part of this system or no. Whether he adores this value or no. Whether he imbibes this in his daily life. What has been referred to by the younger generation as to Indian nationality. These values which I have enumerated, which consist of caste, and then what are the values of a nationality? A nationality should have its own historical value based either on culture. It has to have some national values which are based on ideology. Nationality is something which is based on some heritage. Now, if each caste is going to have its own heritage, and if each caste is going to have its own customary social life, I would like each of you to just wait for a minute and ponder what is going to be the situation if they are going to clash with each other. And today I may say so, the Honorable Tibetan Prime Minister used the Samuel Hamilton's clash of civilization. Are we not witnessing the same thing within the Indian society, that there is a clash of culture and clash of civilization within each caste? And therefore, I would say that caste is not repairing democracy. In fact, over the last 65 years of independence, I may say so, the administrative unity established by the Mughals and then by the Britishers is slowly being eroded. Eroded in terms of values, eroded in terms of understanding, and eroded in terms of accommodation of each other. The founding fathers of the Constitution, being the wisest man of those periods, they believe that this clash of civilization, which is going to remain in this society for a long period of time, and those who are going to be discriminated will need some assurances. And within every society, every nation, there is some form of assurances given to those people who feel that we have been left out. And those assurances are for a simple reason that he has a hope that there's a future for him. And therefore, what I'm saying, there's no accommodation, is that we have now starting questioning this theory of accommodation each other. If this cover of accommodation is evaporated or taken away, let me tell you the deterioration that has started in the society will gather space, and we would be heading for a chaos. No doubt today we have a political government, but what is that form of government? Is it not an accumulation of some caste and disregards for certain caste? Ponder over it, what I'm saying. This is a reality. There's an accumulation of some caste who have formed into a government and whose agenda is exclusion of others. This process which has begun has eaten up into the polity of the political parties. And therefore, the first casualty, as I see, of not developing a democratic society based on certain values, the first casualty, as we see, is that regionalism has started projecting itself. And regionalism has started projecting itself at the cost of nationality. If this process is not arrested and allowed to proceed further, the clash of civilization which I see and the accumulation of caste within caste, that is again going to begin at the lower level. And once that process starts, whatever peace we see today is just going to vanish or evaporate, and we would be heading for a chaos. The second casualty, as if you see, and as this I have been asking the younger generation a lot, can you name, these are sciences, I may say so. These are beginnings. Do you have any person whom you can say that I believe him within a second? Not after thinking. And why this situation has arisen? This situation has arisen because we have one methodology of adjusting, or one methodology of examining our leaders. And what is that methodology? That methodology is based on our perception, which, as I've said, has a caste angle also. And since we are loyal more to our caste, if he fits into our theory, he is ours. If he doesn't fit into our theory, we are against him. And there, the national leadership is a casualty in this country. The sign of administrative unity which was there, which was built, as I've said, by the Mughals and the Britishers, one by one the casualty has started taking place. And this is because, as I've said, we are not ready to seriously think about caste and its effects on building a society, and building a society which has a democratic at its base, and that which will lead towards nationalism. We have concluded that the administrative unity of the Mughals and the Britisher is our nationality. That is not the case. We even today have a sub-nationalism very strong in this country. Caste is one, I said. Language is the other. Regionalism is the third. Unless and until we start addressing this issue as we start addressing the development issue, caste is not going to evaporate with development. Caste, as I've said, is a psychological issue. It's a belief that I belong to so and so. That belief needs to be replaced. And that replacement is going to be the base of democracy and the base of building up an Indian society in this country. This base needs to be chalked out. That base needs to be developed. And it is my hope the younger generation has started ignoring caste. That's a good sign, I may say so. By ignoring caste, caste will not vanish. You will have to create an alternative. And that alternative should not be based on religion, should not be based on the old culture, but that basis has to be modern and in conformation with the democratic values that we have accepted. With these words, I thank you.